Many of the materials you'll be creating will have some level of transparency. A drinking glass, an ice cube, maybe a window looking out into your backyard. Max controls those transparent values using a setting called opacity. Here's how that works. For my example, I've simply created a shiny dark purple material to get us started. Now to get a better look at that, let's double click on that purple ball. We'll now resize the viewing window by dragging its lower right hand corner diagonally. Okay, the opacity setting is located directly to the right of the specular color swatch. The word opacity is simply another way to say opaque, which means solid. So with an opacity value of 100, we're looking at a totally solid surface. Now if we want some level of transparency here, we're going to have to lower that number. Let's take it to 80. And to make it more transparent still, let's lower that to 60. Now in the larger viewing window, inasmuch as the purple looks maybe a little more faint, which might translate to transparent, it's really tough to tell just how transparent it is lying up against a dark gray background. To change that, we'll go to the vertical row of icons on the right hand side of the Materials Editor. Third button down is called Background. Go ahead and click on that. This replaces the dark gray background with a multicolored checkerboard. And with that more vivid, bold display, we can now much easier see just how transparent this surface indeed is. Now, one thing to always consider when making transparent surfaces is, are you going to be able to see through the front of the surface to the back of the surface? If you are, you're going to need to go above the color swatches and off to the right-hand side, turning on two-sided. Now look at the difference there. If you walk around the house checking out some of the objects that are transparent, you'll quickly realize that some of those objects are more transparent in one area than they are in another. A glass vase would be a great example of that. Now envision how that looks. You can actually see through the middle of the vase easier than you can see around the edges. So if we were going to create that vase, we'd need to be able to somehow control the inside being more transparent than the out. And you can do that by going under the Extended Parameters tab in the Materials Editor. On the left-hand side, you see a category called Advanced Transparency. Below that, the word Fall Off. We have a couple buttons here, In and Out, and then an amount. Here's how it works. If you want, for an example, the inside to be more transparent than the outside, we'll leave the fall off setting set on in, and we'll change the amount directly below that. Let's type in 50. Now, as you can see in the large viewing window, the inside is 50% more transparent than the out. If we crank that number to 90, it'll be even more evident. See the difference there? So this again would be ideal for that glass vase. Now, if you were creating a surface that was more transparent on the outside, you'd want to change the fall off from in to out. Let's go ahead and do that. Now, as you can see, the edges are more transparent than the center. The majority of the time, I think, when you're adjusting this value, you'll be using the inward fall off, so let's change it back. Now, make sure you understand how these numbers read. The entire object is 40% transparent. The inside is 90% more transparent than the outside. So that'll now give you a little more control when needing to create a skin that incorporates some level of transparency. You've got the opacity value for the overall level of how transparent something will be, and the fall-off settings both in and out to control what areas might be more transparent than others.